Before I tell you this story, I need you to do something for me. Write down the name Anna, just Anna, because that name, that simple, common name, destroyed everything I thought I knew about myself and revealed a truth so shocking that it nearly killed me. If you're watching this, please subscribe and share this testimony, because what I'm about to tell you needs to be heard by everyone who's ever felt like they don't belong, everyone who's ever questioned where they came from. My name is Princess Carolina of the Saudi royal family, and this is the story of how I discovered that my mother, the woman I was told died giving birth to me, was actually alive, and she was living on the streets as a beggar. I shouldn't be telling you this. My family would rather die than have this story come out, but I'm done protecting their secrets. I'm done living a lie. So listen carefully, because every word I speak could cost me everything. But some truths are too important to stay buried. I grew up in a palace in Riyadh, gold everywhere, marble floors, servants who bowed when I walked past. I had everything a girl could dream of. Designer clothes flown in from Paris, jewelry worth more than most people earn in a lifetime, private jets, exotic vacations. I was Princess Carolina, daughter of Prince Abdullah, one of the most powerful men in Saudi Arabia. I was royalty. I was untouchable. Or so I thought. My mother, I was told, died the day I was born. Complications during childbirth, they said. It was tragic, you know. My father never remarried out of respect for her memory. He kept a portrait of her in his office, this beautiful woman with kind eyes and a gentle smile. That's all I had of her. A painting. A few stories my father would tell me on my birthday. How she loved jasmine flowers. How she sang like an angel. How she would have adored me. I spent my entire childhood mourning a mother I never knew. I would sit in front of that portrait for hours, just staring at her face, imagining what she would say to me, how her hugs would feel, what advice she would give. My aunts tried their best to fill that void, but honestly, it wasn't the same. Nothing could replace a mother, or so I thought. Everything changed 6 months ago. I was 26 years old. I'd just returned from finishing my master's degree in international relations at Oxford. I was supposed to be preparing for an arranged marriage to a prince from Kuwait, a man I'd met twice and could barely hold a conversation with, but I kept finding excuses to delay it. Something felt wrong, you know, like I was living someone else's life, not my own. One afternoon, I was going through some old boxes in the palace storage room. I was looking for my childhood diary, something silly and nostalgic. Instead, I found this box I'd never seen before. It was tucked away in a corner, covered in dust, clearly forgotten for years. Inside were documents, birth certificates, medical records, and photographs. At first, I thought they were just old family papers, right? But then I saw my name, Carolina. And next to it, a mother's name that wasn't the one I'd been told my entire life. The name on my birth certificate wasn't Layla, the noble woman in the portrait. It was Anna, just Anna. No family name, no title, nothing. My hands started shaking. This had to be a mistake. I kept digging through the box, my heart pounding. There were more documents. Hospital records showing that Anna had given birth to me at a public hospital, not at the palace like I'd been told my whole life. There were photographs of a young woman holding a baby. The woman looked nothing like the portrait in my father's office. She was thin, wore simple, cheap clothes, had rough, working hands, and her eyes, God, her eyes looked so scared. I took the box to my room and I didn't sleep that night. I spent the entire night going through everything, piece by piece. The more I found, the less sense any of it made. There were legal documents, adoption papers that had been started but never completed. There were letters, dozens and dozens of letters, all written in Arabic in this shaky, unpracticed hand. They were from Anna, to my father, begging him to let her see me, begging him to acknowledge her, begging him for money to survive. The last letter was dated 15 years ago. It said, and I remember these words exactly because they're burned into my brain, "I'm dying on the streets. I just want to see my daughter one more time before I go. Please. I gave her to you for a better life. But I never agreed to disappear forever. Please, Your Highness, have mercy." I couldn't breathe. I literally couldn't catch my breath. This couldn't be real, right? My mother was alive, or had been alive 15 years ago, and she was a beggar. My father had taken me from her, had lied to me my entire life about who she was, about who I was. I needed answers. I waited until the next morning, until my father was in his office doing his usual morning routine, and I just walked in holding the box. He looked up from his papers, smiled at me. That warm, loving smile I'd known all my life. It made me feel sick. "Father," I said, and my voice came out cold, like ice. "Who is Anna?" His smile vanished, just disappeared. His face went completely white. He stood up slowly, carefully. "Where did you find that?" "Who is Anna?" I repeated, louder this time. He walked to the door, closed it, locked it. When he turned back to me, he looked older somehow, tired in a way I'd never seen. "Sit down, Carolina. I'll stand." He sighed, ran his hand through his hair, this gesture he does when he's stressed. "I never wanted you to find out this way." "Find out what? That you've been lying to me my entire life? That my mother isn't dead? That she was a beggar you stole me from?" "It's not that simple." "Then make it simple. Tell me the truth. For once in my goddamn life, tell me the truth." My father sat down heavily in his chair. He looked at me for what felt like forever, and I saw something in his eyes I'd never seen before. Shame. Real, deep shame. "Your mother," he began slowly, choosing his words carefully, "was not Layla. Layla was my first wife. She died years before you were born. The portrait, the stories, they were all part of a fiction we created to protect you, to protect our family's reputation. And Anna was a servant. She worked in the palace kitchens. She was young, beautiful, and I was lonely after Layla died. We had an affair. It was foolish. It was wrong. And when she became pregnant with you, it became a crisis. I felt like someone had punched me in the stomach. A crisis. That's what I was? A crisis to be managed? You don't understand the politics, Carolina. I couldn't acknowledge you as the daughter of a servant. The scandal would have destroyed my standing in the family, my political alliances, everything I'd worked for. But I didn't want to lose you either. You were my daughter. So what did you do? I made her an offer. A generous offer, I thought. I would raise you as a legitimate princess. I would give you every advantage, every opportunity, everything a child could want. In exchange, she would disappear. She would never try to contact you, never claim to be your mother, never speak of what happened. And she agreed to that? She had no choice, really. She had no family, no money, no education. She was barely surviving on servant wages. I offered her a sum of money that would let her live comfortably for the rest of her life. And I promised that you would never want for anything. Did you pay her? He looked away, couldn't meet my eyes. Some of it, at first. Some of it. The rage building in me was like nothing I'd ever felt in my entire life. You took her child and then didn't even keep your promise? She violated the agreement, he said, and I could hear the defensiveness in his voice. She tried to contact you. She sent letters. She showed up at the palace gates, making scenes. She became a problem. So I cut her off. You left her with nothing. I left her with more than she had before. I looked at my father, this man I'd loved and admired, and looked up to my entire life, and I didn't recognize him. Where is she now? I don't know. And frankly, Carolina, I don't care. Those letters stopped 15 years ago. Then she probably died. Street life is hard. People don't last long out there. The casual cruelty in his voice, the complete lack of empathy, it broke something in me. I'm going to find her. Carolina, don't be foolish. Even if she's alive, what good would it do? You're a princess. She's a nobody. You have nothing in common. She's my mother. I'm your father. I raised you. I gave you everything you have. You gave me lies. You built my entire life on lies. I walked out of his office, taking the box with me. He didn't try to stop me. I think he knew in that moment that he'd already lost me. For the next 3 months, I searched. I hired private investigators, the best ones I could find. I went to the last address listed in her letters, a shelter for homeless women in the poor district of Riyadh, a part of the city I'd never even seen before. The shelter was still there, barely functioning, run by this old woman named Fatima. I'm looking for someone, I told her, showing her a photograph of young Anna from the box. Her name is Anna. She would be in her late 40s now. Fatima studied the picture for a long time, her weathered face thoughtful. Many women come through here. Many faces. They blur together after a while. Why are you looking for her? She's my mother. Fatima looked at me, really looked at me, at my expensive clothes, my jewelry, my driver waiting outside in the luxury car. Your mother? It's complicated. It always is, child. She handed back the photo. There was a woman. She called herself Anna. She was here for many years, sick, very sick, always coughing, could barely catch her breath. She talked about a daughter sometimes, a daughter who was a princess. We all thought she was delusional, you know, making up stories to cope with her life. My heart was pounding so hard I thought I might pass out. Where is she now? She left maybe 2 years ago. Some of the women here said she went to Jeddah. There's a Christian church there that helps homeless people. She might have gone there, but I don't know for sure. Jeddah was on the other side of the country, hours away. I made the trip the next day, telling my father I was visiting friends. The church was small, tucked away in a neighborhood most wealthy Saudis would never set foot in. The priest, Father Michael, was Egyptian, with kind eyes and this patient, gentle way of speaking. Anna, he said when I asked, nodding slowly. Yes, I know Anna. She's been coming here for about 2 years now. She's very ill. Tuberculosis, we think. But she won't go to a hospital. She's afraid of being arrested, deported. Deported? She's Saudi. She has no papers, no identification, no proof of citizenship. In the eyes of the law, she doesn't exist. She's a ghost. Can I see her? He hesitated, studying my face. She's not well, and she's very private, very scared of people. Why do you want to see her? I'm her daughter. His eyes widened, filled with shock. The princess? She talks about you sometimes late at night when she can't sleep. We all thought it was just stories, fantasies to escape her reality. It's not. Please, I need to see her. He led me to a small room behind the church, barely bigger than a closet. On a thin mattress on the floor lay a woman. She was so thin I could see every bone in her body. Her hair was gray and matted, unwashed. Her skin was gray too, the color of ash. She was sleeping, her breathing ragged and labored, each breath seeming to hurt. Anna, Father Michael said softly, gently, you have a visitor. She opened her eyes. They were cloudy with illness and pain. But they were the same eyes from the photographs. My eyes. I had her eyes. Who? She whispered, her voice barely audible. I knelt beside her mattress, tears already streaming down my face. My name is Carolina. She stared at me, Then tears started rolling down her sunken cheeks. No, you're not real. You're another dream. I have so many dreams of you. I'm real, Mama. I'm here. I found you. Her hand, rough and cold and trembling, reached out and touched my face, like she couldn't believe I was solid. My baby. My beautiful baby. You grew up so beautiful. So beautiful. I couldn't hold back my tears anymore. They just came pouring out. Why didn't you fight for me? Why did you let him take me? I didn't let him take you, she whispered, and her voice broke. He ripped you from my arms when you were 3 days old. But I thought, maybe he's right. Maybe you'll have a better life as a princess than as the daughter of a poor servant. I wanted you to have everything I never had. Everything I could never give you. I would have rather had you. I would have chosen you. She smiled, but it was the saddest smile I've ever seen. Don't say that, Habibti. You don't know what poverty is like, what real hunger is like, what it's like to be invisible, to be nothing to everyone. I gave you a chance to be something, to matter. You didn't give me away. He stole me from you. I was young. I was so stupid and young. I thought if I loved him enough, he would love me back. But men like him don't love women like me. We're just servants, just bodies they can use, just problems to be solved and forgotten. Over the next weeks, I visited her every single day. I paid for her to move to a better facility, a private clinic where she could get proper medical treatment. I hired the best doctors money could buy, but they all said the same thing. The damage was too extensive. Years of living on the streets, of malnutrition, of untreated illness, of exposure to the elements. Her lungs were destroyed. Her body was shutting down. They said she had maybe 6 months if we were lucky. During those visits, she told me her story, piece by piece. She'd grown up in a tiny village in the south, orphaned when she was 10. She came to Riyadh at 16, looking for any work she could find. She was 17 when she started working at the palace in the kitchens. 18 when my father noticed her. 19 when I was born. He was kind to me at first, she said one afternoon, staring out the window. He made me feel special, like I mattered, like I was worth something. I thought he loved me. I was so naive, so stupid. I didn't understand that men like him don't see women like me as people. We're just possessions. And when we become inconvenient, we're thrown away like trash. She told me about the day I was born, how they took me away immediately, before she could even hold me properly, before she could even count my fingers and toes. She told me about the money he promised and never fully delivered. She told me about trying to see me, being turned away at the palace gates by guards, beaten by security, arrested for trespassing and locked up for days. I wrote you letters, she said, crying. So many letters. Hundreds of them. Did you ever get them? No, he kept them all from me. I found some of them in a box, but not all of them. I wanted you to know I never stopped loving you, never stopped thinking about you, not for a single day. Every morning for 26 years, you were my first thought when I woke up. And every night, you were my last thought before I slept. You were always with me, even when I couldn't be with you. I'm so sorry, Mama. I'm so sorry I didn't find you sooner. I'm sorry you suffered so much. Don't be sorry, Habibti. Don't ever be sorry. You're here now. That's all that matters to me. I get to see you, to know you, to hold your hand. That's more than I ever dreamed I'd have. But I was sorry. I was furious, burning with anger, at my father, at the system that let men like him abuse women like her, at myself for living in luxury, for wearing diamonds, for complaining about trivial things while she was dying on the streets. I wanted to go public with everything. I wanted to tell the world, to scream from the rooftops what my father had done, but Anna begged me not to. "It will destroy you," she said, gripping my hand weakly. "They'll never forgive you for embarrassing the family. They'll disown you. They'll make your life a living hell. I don't want that for you. I didn't suffer all these years just to watch you throw your life away. I don't care about any of that anymore. I do. I care. I spent 26 years making sure you had a better life than mine. Don't throw it away for revenge. It's not worth it. It's not revenge. It's justice. It's the truth." "Justice?" She laughed, but it turned into a coughing fit that left her gasping. "There's no justice for women like me, Carolina. There never has been. There never will be. But there can be a better future for you. Stay a princess. Use your privilege, your education, your connections to help other women. Change the system from inside. That's worth more than any scandal, any revenge." I spent every possible moment with her. I brought her favorite foods, even though she could barely eat. I read to her from books, played her music, held her hand for hours. I told her about my life, my education, my travels, my dreams. She listened to everything with tears of joy streaming down her face. "You exceeded every dream I had for you," she said one day. "You're educated. You're strong. You're kind. You're everything I wanted to be and never could be. I'm only those things because of you. Because you gave me up for a better life. Because you sacrificed everything. No, Habibti. You're those things because of who you are inside. I just gave birth to you. You made yourself into the woman you are today. That was all you." 3 months after I found her, Anna died. It was early morning. I was holding her hand. Her breathing had been getting worse for days. Each breath a struggle. She opened her eyes one last time, looked at me, and smiled. Her last words were, "Thank you for finding me. Thank you for letting me be your mother, even if just for a little while. I love you so much." And then she was gone. I buried her in a proper grave, with a beautiful headstone that read, "Anna, beloved mother." I didn't tell my father until after the funeral. When I finally did, he was furious. "You had no right to acknowledge her publicly," he said, his face red with anger. "You've created a scandal. Do you have any idea what you've done to our family's reputation? I had every right. She was my mother. I'm your father. I forbid you from speaking about this again. You can't forbid me anything anymore. I'm done. I'm done living your lies, done protecting your secrets, done pretending to be someone I'm not." I moved out of the palace that day. I took only what was mine, nothing bought with his blood money. I found a small apartment in the city, nothing fancy, nothing special. I got a job at a nonprofit helping women escape domestic abuse and violence. It doesn't pay much. I can't afford designer clothes anymore. I take the bus instead of having a private driver. I shop at normal stores. I live like a normal person. But you know what? For the first time in my life, I feel like I'm living an honest life. An authentic life. A life that means something. My father has cut me off completely. Most of the royal family won't speak to me. My arranged marriage was canceled, which honestly was the only good thing to come from all this mess. But I found my mother. Even if just for 3 months. Even if she was dying. I got to know her. I got to love her. I got to tell her that she mattered. That she wasn't invisible. That she was everything to me. And I learned something really important. Being a princess doesn't mean anything if it's built on lies and exploitation and suffering. Real royalty, true nobility. It's not about titles or palaces or bloodlines. It's about integrity. It's about standing up for what's right, even when it costs you everything you have. My mother, Anna, A woman the world saw as nothing, as a beggar, as invisible, as worthless. She had more dignity and grace and strength than all the princes and princesses I grew up with combined. She sacrificed everything for me, gave up everything so I could have a chance at a better life. And when I finally found her, when I finally knew her, she taught me what real love looks like. Unconditional, selfless, pure love. So when people ask me if I regret it, if I regret leaving the palace, leaving my life as a princess, leaving all that wealth and privilege, I tell them no, absolutely not. Because I may have lost a crown, but I found something worth so much more. I found the truth. I found my mother. I found myself. I found my purpose. The name Anna means grace, and that's exactly what she gave me. The grace to see the truth, even when it's ugly. The grace to forgive, even when it's hard. The grace to build a new life based on authenticity rather than lies and appearances. If you're watching this, if you've stayed with me through this whole long story, thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for bearing witness to my mother's life. Thank you for listening to a truth that powerful people want buried forever. And if you've ever felt like you don't belong, if you've ever discovered that your life was built on lies, if you've ever felt invisible or worthless, know that you're not alone. You matter. Your story matters. The truth might destroy everything you thought you knew about yourself and your life, but it also sets you free. And freedom, real freedom, the freedom to live authentically, to be yourself, to choose your own path, that's worth more than all the palaces and crowns and jewels in the entire world. My name is Carolina. My mother's name was Anna. She was a beggar. She was a servant. She was invisible to the world, forgotten, thrown away. But she was also the bravest, strongest, most loving person I've ever known in my entire life. And I'm proud to be her daughter. I'm honored to carry her name in my heart. Please subscribe if this story moved you, if it touched your heart in any way. Share it if you believe that every person's story matters, no matter how powerless they seem, no matter how invisible they are. Because Anna's story matters. It deserves to be heard. And so do the stories of all the other invisible women suffering in silence all over the world. This is my testimony. This is my truth. This is my mother's legacy. May her memory be a blessing and a call to action for anyone who has the power to change systems that treat human beings as disposable, as worthless, as less than. Thank you for listening. Thank you for caring. Thank you for seeing my mother as the person she was. Not just as a beggar or a servant, but as a human being worthy of love and dignity. And thank you, Mama, wherever you are now, for everything, for your sacrifice, for your love, for never giving up hope, for being my mother. I love you. I'll always love you, forever.